Some badly needed set upgrades. Most notably, a new table that my legs can fit under. No more toolbox. And I've got options. But for today, I think we'll go back to this nice one here. Oh, one more thing. Got a little something in the mail the other day. So why don't we do a little unboxing and see how well this guy works. Roll that intro. So, if you happen to catch my tethering 101 video I put up a couple of weeks ago, I'll link it here. You might have caught when I said this. I haven't used this system, so I can't speak to how well it may work. Tether Tools, if you want to send me one, I'm happy to try it out. Well, Tether Tools did catch it, and they were cool enough to send one of these over. No strings attached, not a sponsored review. So thank you to the crew at Tether Tools. I think the fact that I have this actually sitting here says a lot about that company. Okay, what I think I'm gonna do is just see how this might fit into my workflow and share the process with all of you. My two main points of emphasis will be how well and how consistently it connects and the speed of transfer, most notably for raw images. Now, I have an inkling that this may just be the first step to what a wireless future might hold, and I'm not quite sure we're there yet, but let's find out. So the box here, looks like it opens like this. We've got some features on the sides here, a quick start guide. Here's the actual unit. The battery right here. So this believes this is a kind of Canon style battery, a small battery. So if you're a Canon shooter, you might have a couple of these already around, which I'm guessing if you're shooting with this in a commercial setting, you would want more than one battery. Underneath this is, let's see, our cables. This is the battery charger, charging cable, and then there's a DC power adapter for this unit here. So you can actually plug it in while you use it, and instead of using the battery. I don't think it, when you're using it, I don't think it'll charge a battery on here, but you can hot swap batteries out while you're using it. And then there's just the cable to charge, or for the charger, and then that DC adapter. Also, we've got all of our connecting cables for the multitude of different cameras. Today I'm going to use the Nikon D850, so we'll use this USB 3 cable, and it looks like it connects right here. So cue the B-roll, and I'll be right back with a setup where we can give this guy a try. I've got this set up, I think, as best as I can manage in this tight space and on camera. I've got my Nikon D850 here. I've got the Air Direct. This is a cold shoe mount on the bottom of the Air Direct. So they actually have a cold shoe adapter you can attach to like an L bracket. So if you are firing strobes, you can put your remote on here and have this connected as well off to the side. But I'm not gonna fire any strobes for this test, so I just mounted it here on top. But I just wanted to show that this is an option. A couple things to get this to work. You've got to download their utility, Air Direct utility. which on here, and I'll show some close-ups of the AirDirect, but there's a option to select ADU or mobile, where you can, ADU is for when you're firing to or tethered to a computer, and mobile is for mobile devices, like phone, iPad, that type of thing. You can shoot at 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz. 5 is obviously faster, 2.4 will give you more range, but then that's going to be slower. So for my purposes, we're going to keep it at 5 gigahertz. Okay, so to get this to work, you turn on the AirDirect unit and it will crank up its Wi-Fi network. And it's probably about 10 seconds. There's a blue light that'll go light up right here. And then what you have to do is come into your Wi-Fi connection here and connect to the network there. And then you have to be running their ADU app in the background. And once you have that going on, you can turn your camera on and you can see that we're hooked up here. I'm not going to run screen recording software because I don't want anything else slowing down the computer and possibly altering these test results. This is my tethering iMac, and I will kind of list its details right over here so you can kind of see what I'm working with. I have mounted an SSD drive in here to help speed things up, but in no ways is this scientific. I would just kind of take these numbers for what they are. So I think to start, what we'll do, since we're connected, you can see I've got Batman over my left shoulder. We'll use him as our model today. All right, let's change our image quality to, we're gonna go raw, and I'm shooting a 14-bit lossless compressed RAWs here. All right, about 7.5 seconds. So let's do it again, one more time. Yep, exactly the same. About 7.5 seconds for a 14-bit lossless compressed RAW coming from the Nikon D850. This time, let's try like a 5-image burst, and we'll time how long it takes to bring 5 images over. And here we go. And 5, a little over 30 seconds for 5 images to come across. Let's dial it back and let's try a JPEG basic. All right, so your JPEG basic is probably 1.5 seconds. These are pretty quick, so. So your lower end JPEGs are almost pretty much as quick as being tethered with the wire to the computer. Now let's bump up the JPEG quality to a JPEG fine. Here we go, JPEG fine. Let me erase these guys out. All right, fine JPEG test. Just about 4 seconds for a fine or your highest resolution JPEG file. I'm reading about 4 seconds for that. Let's try a couple more. Tell you what, let's do 2 in a row and see if there's any quicker. It's about 7 seconds. So around 3.5, 4 seconds for your higher quality or your highest quality JPEG. And we were looking at less than 2 seconds for basic JPEG. And with the raw images, they were coming around anywhere 7 to 8 seconds, maybe 6 seconds when you're shooting several in succession there. So I believe it was around 30 seconds for 5 JPEGs. So obviously the more information that you're transmitting, the slower it is. But pretty impressive on the JPEG end of things. All right, just for fun, I've taken off the Air Direct system and gone back to old school. We've hard tethered the camera to the computer here. I've set it back to raw, 14-bit, lossless compressed. And let's see how long it takes with the wired connection. I think everything's set here. Here we go. So and I probably was a little late on that, probably 1.5 seconds with the wired connection. So shooting a cable with raw images, you basically match this with a basic JPEG as far as time is concerned on transfer. All right, so what did we learn? Well, this system works, and I think it's pretty darn neat. Is it fast enough? Well, I guess that depends. For someone like myself, I don't think it's quite there yet. I'm not sure it's possible, but if in future updates they can cut the raw transmission time in half to say around 3 seconds or so, then we might be talking about a legitimate replacement for these cables. That being said, if you are a more deliberate or slower working photographer, maybe working with products or still life, this could easily be an option. Another thing that could change its viability would be if the capture software can be configured to only send over the JPEG files while writing the RAW files to the card in the camera. And that could make things interesting. Just a few other things of note. I'm running OS Mojave on that iMac I had out here, and I believe there's some issues connecting the Air Direct with Catalina. I mean, hell, Catalina has caused lots of tethering issues in general, and I actually had to reinstall Mojave on that computer a few months back just to get Capture One working. And speaking of Capture One, I also think the Air Direct system is not compatible yet with the latest version, which is version 20. I'm still running 12 on my computer, and as you saw, it worked just fine. You know, in conclusion, I just want to thank Tether Tools for taking the time to send this over and allow me to test it out. I'm very intrigued by the advances in this technology, and I'm looking forward to one day when something like this piece of hardware right here will be the new normal, and we can say goodbye to these tethers. Well, I hope some of y'all have found something of value here, and if so, please hit that thumbs up to tell YouTube we have something cool going on here. Also subscribe and hit that bell notification so you'll be alerted when I post new content. With the small audience I have here, I wouldn't count on being notified otherwise. You can also always find me on Instagram and Twitter at QuantsPhoto. Please stay healthy and safe out there, and I plan to be here in the next one. This was really fun with this new setup. Looking forward to doing more. And I'm out.